How's it going? Welcome back to another great video with the majestic host for Savior. And today I'm going to be giving you something quite different, something that you haven't really seen before, if I'm honest. And to be honest, this game is completely under the radar. Nobody is talking about this game whatsoever, even though this game is right around the corner. But luckily, I'm here to fill you in because I got to see some of this at the Tokyo Game Show that I went to last month, I believe it was now. Which was very cool. But basically, this is a horror experience like no other, pretty much. And it's not really a horror game. That's the weird thing about it, to be honest, is this is more of a combat-focused survival horror game, okay? And actually a little bit of a boss gauntlet, which I think will surprise quite a lot of people.
This is about much more than just business. This is about the thrill of wearing another man's skin. Feeling his innermost wants and desires, and being in control of his every single move. That's how you get off.
Now, have you ever seen the anime Parasite, or perhaps you're a fan of The Thing, that grotesque horror movie, which is just one of the goats of all time, where literally these giant alien parasites are living inside of people's blood, basically, and they transform the humans into horrifying monsters, and you don't know who to trust, okay? That's basically what this game is going for, okay? It's going for a mix of Parasite, the anime, and John Carpenter's The Thing, okay? And The Thing, which is quite a shocking idea for a video game. And honestly, it does give me a lot of different vibes. It gives me, you know, kind of Stray vibes in some regards, like when you are inhabiting animals and stuff like that. And it also gives me Sifu vibes, and also basically, you know, the main one being it gives me Prototype vibes, okay? And Prototype was such a cool game back in the day. If you know, you know. I might do a separate video on it at some point. Basically, you can body swap and body jump as much as you want, and especially in combat, that's when it's the most fun and unique. But there is, you know, something to keep track of, and that is your soul meter. But honestly, nobody is talking about this game, so I just thought I would give you a quick Slitterhead review based on the early access stuff, just to, you know, give you an idea if you are somewhat interested in this game, because I do think visually, artistically, it is doing something different. Sadly, the gameplay is where it falls flat, okay? I'm not saying it's a terrible game. I'm going to give you positives and negatives like I do with all of my early reviews. Make sure that you are subscribed if you are new, if you love video game coverage, early access stuff, and deep video analysis around video games and philosophy. Subscribe, become a wise one. Do it right now. Thank you very much. That would mean a lot if you give this video a like, you know?
Now, don't you guys want to get off with me?
So let's just talk about the meat and potatoes of this game. What will you actually be doing? Well, you will mostly be fighting these parasites, these monsters, okay? So in each zone, there is like basically a boss that you need to take down. And you will have, you know, civilians around you that you can swap in and out of using, you know, the body swapping ability, basically. But what's different is how you actually take down the enemies, okay? Because each person that you inhabit will have access to different abilities, okay? And you can get these abilities by using your blood essence. It's kind of vampiric in the sense where you can use the person's blood to harness different types of weapons. You get the standard kind of melee attacks, but then also you can unlock cool abilities like literally exploding yourself using these people as just, you know, just as weapons, which is quite disgusting, honestly. And then you even have abilities like transforming yourself into Wolverine, pretty much, with these giant spikes that come out of your hand. So there's lots of different, you know, play styles and different types of combat options in this game. The reason why this game is kind of gone under the radar is there just hasn't been any marketing around it whatsoever. It is made by a Japanese developer, and I love Japanese games, okay? There's so much creativity when it comes to Japanese games for the most part. Path of the Goddess, a game that came out recently by Capcom that was absolutely amazing, one of my game of the years, honestly. And this one has such a cool idea as its premise, but where it fails is execution, okay? So the story so far hasn't really gripped me because I haven't seen that much of it. It is an early access review, but still it hasn't really drawn me into this world. Because you don't really feel attached to many characters because you are body swapping all the time. And basically your mission is just to hunt these Slitterheads, okay? Hence why it's called Slitterhead. you need to fight these monsters, and you don't have any memory of why you are this bodiless spirit. And it all sounds really cool on paper, the unique creature designs, this kind of prototype aesthetic. I love the art style. The music as well in this game is absolutely fantastic. I think they really did a good job of that. And like I said, each character that you body swap as, then you can use different blood abilities for these different weapons. It doesn't all have to be melee focused. You can actually have projectiles from different blood weapons as well. So there's a lot going on here, and it does still have that horror aesthetic. And what I do like is the fact that, you know, it almost is trying to be Souls-esque in some ways, but with a more action flair, you know, an action character flair. Lots of different combos and stuff like that, and different abilities that are on a cooldown. You can even get your like limbs chopped off, and they will have to grow back, which is very cool. And if you do, you know, lose control over one person and they just die, one of these humans that you've infected, you can just simply, you know, swap to, you know, their wife, their husband, their children. You know, it's pretty disgusting, to be honest, because it does have a unique vibe to it, similar to Prototype, where it does feel like you are just using humanity for your own, you know, needs, basically. But that's so cool, and I really do like that feel to it. But the main point of this game is to face these Slitterheads and to take them down. Sadly, that's where it feels a little bit lackluster, because the combat system is cool, but it is also very janky, okay? If you haven't noticed, the animations aren't that good. From what I've actually seen at Tokyo Game Show, it doesn't look much better, to be honest, and it's going to be out very soon. I do like the system where you actually have to parry and block different directional attacks and stuff like that. That is cool, and it is kind of going for that Souls-esque formula where there is a dodge roll, you have a lock-on, and you're just basically attacking these different creatures, and then the big bosses, like this praying mantis thing that you have to take down. All of that stuff is pretty cool, and the combat system itself isn't bad, but it just feels a little bit floaty. It doesn't have much weight or impact to it. The animations, like I said, are stiff. The way the enemies lock onto you, that's also a little bit just kind of stiff and broken at the moment. And the camera, you're constantly going to be wrestling with the camera. So honestly, you know, if you're looking for just like a fun action game, you know, it kind of does have that Sifu vibe where it's just doing its own unique thing. You know, taking some elements from Souls, from action character video games, even though it's not as combo focused, but it does have that dynamic flash to it, and, you know, lots of different chaining attacks and different abilities and stuff. You know, it does have that unique indie vibe to it, but I just wish the combat was more tight. I wish the level design was, you know, just more thought out, because basically this isn't an open world game. You have these linear levels that you go through, and then you fight a Slitterhead, one of these main bosses, but they are usually very tight corridors or out in the street, and they're just rather boring to explore from what I've seen so far. And the tightness of the spaces just make the combat encounters even more just kind of janky, which is a shame, because the creature design and the directional attacks and all that stuff, like I said, that's actually quite cool, and it sets this game apart, especially just swapping to different, you know, people and then just going absolutely apeshit on them. That's a lot of fun. The music and ambience in this game, the tone that it's going for, was quite satisfying to me, and that was interesting. That did make me more engaged in the world. But the bosses themselves are kind of just, you know, spammy. The bosses themselves don't have many different attack patterns, but what I did like was, in the demo that we could see, basically, is the bosses aren't just, you know, stationary, okay? They do actually move around, and you will actually have to chase them down, some of them, to defeat one of these kind of master Slitterheads, which is a really cool feature, and something I haven't seen a lot of. It just needs a lot more polish and a tighter combat system. So would I recommend Slitterhead? Is Slitterhead worth it? Well, I would say that this game is, you know, one of those experimental games that you might want to give a try later down the road on sale or something. It does have unique ideas, but it's just kind of lacking in polish, presentation, story. The music ambience is all there. I really like that, and the idea and the art style is really cool, but it's not going to be enough just to hold your attention, I believe. But I do think that Slitterhead is worth taking a look at. That's why I just wanted to quickly cover this in this Slitterhead review based on the early access. You know, it does look interesting, but I think this will go under most people's radars, and yeah, you know, It does have some cool ideas similar to Prototype, but where Prototype succeeded with its open level design, that would be a lot more fun in the open world kind of environment where you can just take over people's lives and kind of, have some kind of gameplay mechanic where you kind of have to infiltrate someone else's life. That would be a lot more cooler than just using them as, just like cannon fodder. Basically, there isn't much difference just swapping bodies because, the combat is always the same, pretty much. Obviously, depending on the abilities that you use and stuff like that. It's a cool idea, but I just think the execution wasn't quite there. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.